Right now, picture the strongest person you have ever met, the one who opens the jar nobody else can open, the one you would never agree to arm wrestle. Now put that person across from you in an empty room and lock the door. That is roughly the fight you would be in if you came face to face with a Neanderthal, except the Neanderthal is stronger, not a little stronger, built in a way no gym on Earth can give you. For a long time, we pictured these people as slow, dim, hunched cavemen, and that picture is almost completely wrong. The truth is far more unsettling, because if one of them walked through your door today, the question of who walks back out is a lot closer than you would ever want it to be. So could you actually win? The answer comes down to 3 things you would be carrying into that fight without even knowing you had them. Let's start with your opponent, because you need to understand what you are up against. Neanderthals were not a cartoon. They were a real human species that spread across Europe and Western Asia for hundreds of thousands of years. Right up until roughly 40,000 years ago, they buried their dead, they made tools, they decorated themselves with pigment and shells, and some of them may even have played a simple bone flute. These were not brutes, they were people, and they were absolute tanks. Here is where that strength came from, and it matters. A Neanderthal never lifted a weight in his life. A Neanderthal hunted woolly mammoths and straight-tusked elephants at close range with a wooden spear by getting near enough to drive the point in by hand. Sit with that for a second. Every hunt was a wrestling match with an animal the size of a truck, and when it was finally down, they butchered it and hauled the meat home, sometimes something like 50 pounds of it, over miles of rough ground. Do that your whole life, starting as a child, and you do not get gym muscles. You get working muscles, thick corded forearms, overbuilt shoulders, neck, and arms, all shaped for one job, applying force. And it went deeper than muscle. Their bones were denser than yours. Their whole frame was heavier and more robust, with a wider pelvis and a lower center of gravity. In plain terms, that makes a Neanderthal almost impossible to knock down, and an absolute nightmare on the ground. In a grappling match, he would not just beat you, he would fold you. Researchers who study their skeletons have found so many old, healed injuries across their bones that they compared the pattern to something oddly specific and modern, the battered bodies of rodeo riders, people who spent their lives being thrown by huge animals and getting back up. So let's be honest right now. You, him, bare hands, standing toe-to-toe in a locked room. You lose. You probably lose badly. And if you think a Neanderthal is the worst thing you could have been matched against, you actually got lucky, because Neanderthals are lightweights next to some of our other relatives. There was another human species, Homo heidelbergensis, and some of them stood over 7 feet tall, with evidence that they were, at times, cannibals. The family tree we come from is full of things you would never want to meet in the dark. But stay with the Neanderthal, because against him, you are not as helpless as you feel. You are not walking into that room empty-handed. You are carrying 3 advantages, and here is the beautiful part. He cannot take a single one of them away from you. The first is reach. On average, modern humans have longer, leaner limbs than Neanderthals did. They were shorter, stockier, packed low and heavy. You are built tall and rangy, and in a fight, reach is time. Reach is the power to touch him before he can touch you. Every inch of distance you hold is an inch he has to cross while you're already landing something. The second advantage is stamina, and this is the one nobody expects. The Neanderthal body was a short-burst engine. Explosive, overwhelming, and expensive. All that muscle drinks enormous amounts of energy, and it was built for one quick, savage, close encounter, not a long chase. Your body is the exact opposite. Lean, efficient, built to just keep going. Our species are the endurance animals of the planet. We can jog for hours. We sweat to shed heat while almost everything else has to stop and pant. So in a short fight, he wins. But if you survive the first 30 seconds, if you can stay on your feet through that first terrifying wave, the fight quietly starts bending towards you. He tires. You do not. And the third advantage is the one that actually decides everything. It is not in your arms. It is behind your eyes. Because here is what everybody gets wrong about this fight. It was never really a contest of muscle. Think about how our kind actually handles things stronger than us. We do not outmuscle the lion. We surround it. We wait. We plan. We use tools. A modern person trained to fight, someone who understands leverage and timing and exactly where a body is weak, does not need to be the stronger one in the room. He needs to be smarter about where the force goes. Put a trained grappler or striker in that locked room, and the Neanderthal's raw power stops being a guarantee, because now there is skill on the other side, and skill turns strength against itself. And then there is the real cheat code: weapons. Give yourself even a simple spear you can throw, and the entire equation collapses, because our ancestors did something Neanderthals never fully matched. We learned to kill from a distance. We threw. We built spear throwers and later bows, so we could put a sharp point into a target that never got close enough to lay a hand on us. A fight you can win from 30 feet away is a fight where his forearms and his dense bones and his grappling mean absolutely nothing. He simply never reaches you. So let's answer the question straight. Could you win a fight against a Neanderthal? Empty hands, standing still, trading blows, no. You get overpowered and it is not close. But that is the one version of this fight where he holds every single card. Give yourself distance. Give yourself movement. Give yourself a little training or one thrown weapon, and a modern human of decent build has a real genuine chance. The plan is simple to say and terrifying to do. Do not let him grab you. Survive the first rush. Keep him at the very end of your reach, and wear him down until the strength that should have killed you becomes the thing that exhausts him. Now here is the part that should raise the hair on your arms, because none of this is really hypothetical. This fight already happened, not in a locked room, but across an entire continent over thousands of years. Our species walked into a world where Neanderthals were already established. They were stronger than us. Their brains were, and this is true, slightly larger than ours on average. On paper, they should have won. They did not. They were gone by around 40,000 years ago, and we are still here. And the reasons line up almost perfectly with everything we just walked through. We did not beat them by being stronger. We beat them with range, with endurance, with cooperation, with better tools, and with the ability to think further ahead than raw power ever could. But they did not vanish completely, because before the end, our two kinds met, and some of those meetings were not fights at all. They had children together, and that ancient code got handed down, quietly, generation after generation, all the way to you. If your ancestry runs anywhere outside of Africa, you are carrying somewhere around 1 to 4% Neanderthal DNA in your body right now, in your immune system, maybe in your skin, your hair, even the way you sleep. So the real answer to, could you win a fight against a Neanderthal, is stranger than yes or no. You almost certainly could not beat one with your bare hands. Your species already beat them another way entirely, and a small, stubborn piece of them survived the whole thing by becoming a part of us. The strongest people who ever lived lost the longest fight in history, and then they moved in and never left.